The meeting room was quiet except for the soft hum of air recyclers. Admiral Jinwoo Park sat at the long metal table, his hands folded in front of him. Around the table sat the other members of the United Earth Council. They all looked tired. The past 3 days had been full of emergency meetings and worried faces. The large screen at the front of the room flickered to life. A strange figure appeared on it. The alien looked like a walking crystal with blue light glowing from inside its body. Its voice came through the speakers with a sound like breaking glass. "I am Ambassador Crix 9 of the Valtherian Confederacy," the creature said. "I speak for 12 great species that rule over 800 worlds. You humans are new to space travel. You have been in our territory for only 50 years. This must end." President Hyunwoo Lee leaned forward in his chair. "What exactly are you saying, Ambassador?" The crystal being's light grew brighter. "Your kind builds colonies where they do not belong. You mine asteroids that are not yours. You send your ships through space lanes that belong to others. The Confederacy has decided that humans must learn their place." Admiral Park felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his face calm. Around the table, other council members shifted in their seats. General Seokjin Jang wrote notes on his tablet with sharp, quick movements. "We are offering you a choice," Crix 9 continued. "Give up all your colonies beyond your home system. Pay tribute to the Confederacy every year. Accept our rules for space travel. Do this and your species may continue to exist." "And if we refuse?" asked Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon, the council's science advisor. The alien's laugh sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "Then you will face the full power of our war fleets. 50,000 ships wait at the edge of your solar system. Each one could destroy your largest city in minutes. Your weapons cannot hurt our ships. Our shields turn away all attacks. Our vessels can pass through solid matter like ghosts." Captain Minji Kim, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "I've seen your ships, Ambassador. My scouts have been watching them near Jupiter. They are impressive." "Impressive." Crix 9's light pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Child, our smallest fighter craft has more power than your greatest warship. We have weapons that can crack planets. We have shields that bend space itself. Your species has barely learned to leave its birth world." The room fell silent. On the E screen, more alien figures appeared behind Crix 9. Park could see creatures with too many eyes, beings made of what looked like living metal, and things that hurt to look at directly. "We have conquered species far more advanced than yours," said one of the new aliens. Its voice was like the screech of metal on metal. "The Koroth had energy weapons that could melt moons. The Vexani could travel through time. The Zelf built computers the size of stars. All of them fell before us. How long do we have to decide?" President Lee asked. 72 of your hours," Crix 9 replied. "After that, our fleets will begin the cleaning of your colonies. Your civilians may evacuate if they move quickly. Those who remain will be processed." The screen went dark. For a moment, nobody spoke. The air recyclers hummed. Outside the station's windows, Earth hung in space like a blue marble. General Zhang was the first to break the silence. 50,000 ships. Our entire defense fleet has maybe 3,000 vessels, and most of those are patrol boats and cargo haulers with guns bolted on. Their technology is clearly superior, Dr. Yoon added. The energy readings from their ships are off our charts. I've never seen shield systems like theirs. Captain Kim pulled up a holographic display from her tablet. I've been tracking their movements for weeks. They don't just have numbers. Every single one of their ships is perfectly positioned. No wasted motion. No excess energy signatures. It's like watching a computer control a fleet. Admiral Park stood up and walked to the window. Earth looked so peaceful from here. Down there, 7 billion people went about their daily lives. Most of them didn't even know this meeting was happening. What are our chances if we fight? President Lee asked. The room was quiet again. General Zhang cleared his throat. Honestly, sir, almost zero. Our best weapons are kinetic cannons and nuclear missiles. If their shields can really stop everything we have, they can, Captain Kim said quietly. I've seen the test footage from their demonstration near Europa. They let one of our destroyer-class ships fire everything it had at a single Valtharian frigate. The shields didn't even flicker. Dr. Yoon was looking at data on her tablet. There's something else. Our intelligence suggests they don't just want to defeat us. They want to make an example. Show the rest of the galaxy what happens when you oppose the Confederacy. So we have a choice, President Lee said slowly. Surrender and become slaves or fight and be destroyed. Admiral Park turned back to the group. There's a third option. What's that? General Zhang asked. We fight and win. The silence that followed was different from before. It wasn't the quiet of people thinking. It was the quiet of people wondering if their admiral had lost his mind. Captain Kim was the first to speak. Sir, with respect, the math doesn't work. They have better ships, better weapons, better shields. They outnumber us 15-1. Park nodded. All true, but they're making the same mistake that powerful enemies have made throughout human history. Which is, Dr. Yoon asked. They think they know what they're fighting. President Lee frowned. Explain. Admiral Park walked back to his seat but didn't sit down. They've studied our military, our official ships, our standard weapons, our normal tactics. They think they understand human warfare. Don't they? General Zhang asked. No, they understand human military doctrine. That's not the same thing. Park's voice grew stronger. When humans really fight, when our backs are against the wall, we don't just use our military. We use everything. He gestured toward the window, toward Earth. Down there are billions of people. Farmers, factory workers, miners, engineers, pilots, mechanics. When we fought each other in our old wars, we turned factories into weapon plants. We put guns on civilian ships. We made soldiers out of shopkeepers. Dr. Yoon looked thoughtful. You're talking about total war. I'm talking about human war, Park corrected. The Confederacy has conquered 800 worlds, but I bet none of those worlds ever turned their entire civilization into a weapon. Captain Kim pulled up another display. Even if that's true, sir, their technology advantage is massive. Our industrial capacity won't matter if we can't hurt their ships. Maybe, Park admitted, but we won't know until we try, and I'd rather die fighting than live as slaves. President Lee stood up slowly. If we choose to fight, how long can we hold out? General Zhang ran some quick calculations on his tablet. If they attack all our colonies at once, maybe 6 months. If they focus on Earth first, 6 weeks. 6 weeks to pull off a miracle, President Lee said quietly. Admiral Park smiled for the first time since the meeting started. 6 weeks to show them what humans can really do. The vote was close. 4 council members voted to surrender. 5 voted to fight. President Lee cast the deciding vote. 3 hours later, the response was transmitted to the Valtharian fleet. The United Earth Council thanks the Valtharian Confederacy for their offer, President Lee said into the camera. Humanity respectfully declines. The transmission ended. In the depths of space aboard the Confederacy flagship, Ambassador Crix 9 watched the message with what his species used for curiosity. Interesting, he said to his staff. They choose death. How primitive. The alien commander beside him pulsed with dark energy. Shall we begin the attack immediately? No. Crix 9 replied. Let them have their full 72 hours. When we destroy them, I want no one in the galaxy to say we were unfair. The complete destruction of humanity will send a clear message to any other species that might consider defying us. Far below, on Earth, Admiral Jinwoo Park stared out at the stars and whispered, "Come and take us." The countdown had begun. The warning siren screamed across Kepler 442b mining colony. Commander Do-hyun Choi ran down the metal corridors of Busan Station, the orbital defense platform that protected the colony below. Red lights flashed on every wall. His boots rang against the floor plates as he headed for the command center. "Report!" he shouted as he burst through the doors. Lieutenant Woo Jin Bei looked up from his screen. 57 enemy contacts, sir. They just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. At the system edge, they're heading straight for us. Choi moved to the main display. The alien ships looked like nothing he had ever seen. They were smooth and curved, with no visible weapons or engines. They moved through space like swimming fish, turning and diving in perfect formation. "Time to contact?" Choi asked. 18 minutes at current speed, replied Chief Engineer Soo-Young Nam from her station. "Sir, I'm reading energy signatures that don't make sense. Their power output is incredible." On the planet below, mining crews scrambled to their emergency shelters. The colony had 5,000 people, mostly families of the miners. There was nowhere for them to run. "What do we have to fight with?" Choi asked, though he already knew the answer wouldn't be good. 12 railgun batteries, Nam replied. 48 nuclear missiles, 6-point defense laser arrays, and the mining equipment. Choi almost laughed. The mining equipment, against ships that could destroy planets. "Sir?" Lieutenant Bay called. "Out." "I'm getting a communication from the lead alien ship." "Put it through." The main screen changed to show another crystal being, this one glowing with red light instead of blue. "Human defenders of this world," the alien said. "I am War Leader, VEC 7 of the Confederacy Fleet. You have 3 minutes to evacuate your platform and surrender this colony." "This is Commander Choi," he replied. "We refuse your demand." The alien's light pulsed brighter. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Our shields will turn away everything you have. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." The transmission ended. Choi looked around the command center. Everyone was staring at him. "Orders, sir?" asked Nam. Choi thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 8 years old. If humanity fell here, she would grow up as a slave, if she grew up at all. "Load all missiles with nuclear warheads," he said. "Charge the railguns, power up the mining lasers." "The mining lasers?" Bay asked. "Sir, those are for cutting rock, not fighting ships." "Today they fight ships," Choi replied. The alien fleet came closer. Choi could see them clearly now on the long-range cameras. They were beautiful in a deadly way, like sharks made of silver and glass. "Enemy ships in missile range," Nam reported. "Fire all missiles," Choi ordered. 48 nuclear missiles streaked away from the platform. Their engines burned bright against the black space. The crew watched the missiles on their screens as they raced toward the alien ships. The first, missiles reached the enemy fleet and exploded. Brilliant white flashes lit up space. For a moment, Choi hoped. Then the light faded and all 57 alien ships were still there, completely undamaged. Their shields absorbed everything, Bay said quietly. "Railgun range in 30 seconds, Nam called out. The alien ships were close enough now that Choi could see details on their hulls. Strange symbols glowed along their sides. Their movement was hypnotic, like watching a dance. "Fire railguns," Choi ordered. 12 streams of metal projectiles shot toward the enemy. The railgun rounds moved at tremendous speed, but the alien ships simply shifted slightly to one side. The rounds passed harmlessly through the space where the ships had been. "They can phase through solid matter," Nam whispered, "just like the report said." The alien ships reached the platform. Energy beams lanced out from their hulls. The first beam struck the platform's north section. Metal melted like butter. Atmosphere vented out in great jets of freezing vapor. "Section 7 is gone," Bay reported. 20 people lost. Another beam hit, then another. Each strike removed another piece of the platform. Choi gripped his command chair as the station shook around him. "Sir, what about the mining arrays?" Nam asked suddenly. Choi looked at her. "The mining arrays were the big industrial lasers used to cut apart asteroids. They weren't weapons, but they were powerful." "Do it," he said. Nam's fingers flew over her controls. Down on the planet's surface, 6 massive mining lasers turned upward. They were built to slice through rock and metal for hours at a time. The first mining laser fired. Its beam was different from normal weapons. It was continuous, like a sword, made of light. The beam struck one of the alien ships. Something unexpected happened. The ship's shields flickered. "Did you see that?" Bay shouted. "Again," Choi ordered. All 6 mining lasers fired at once. Their beams reached up from the planet like fingers of fire. Where they touched the alien ships, the shields sparked and wavered. On the enemy flagship, War leader Vex 7 felt something he had not experienced in 3 centuries of conquest. Surprise. "What is happening to our shield?" he demanded. His technician's light pulsed with confusion. "The human industrial equipment is creating resonance patterns we have never seen. Our shields are designed to absorb burst weapons, not continuous energy streams. Are we in danger?" "No, war leader. The resonance is not strong enough to fail our shields, but it is unexpected." Meanwhile, on Busan Station, Lieutenant Bei was making his own desperate choice. His fighter craft was damaged from the first alien attack, but its engines still worked. "Sir," he said to Choi over the radio, "I'm going to ram the nearest enemy ship." "Negative, Lieutenant. Return to base." "Base won't be here much longer, sir. Maybe I can take one of them with me." Bei pushed his fighter's engines to maximum power. The small craft shot toward the largest alien ship. As he got closer, he could see the strange symbols on its hull glowing brighter. The alien ship tried to phase through his attack, but Bei had overloaded his fusion reactor. The engine was going critical, building up massive electromagnetic interference. He hit the alien ship just as his reactor exploded. The electromagnetic pulse from the explosion washed over the enemy fleet. For just a moment, their perfect formation wavered. 3 ships lost power and drifted helplessly. On the planet below, Chief Engineer Nam saw her chance. "All mining arrays target the disabled ships." The industrial lasers focused their beams on the 3 powerless alien vessels. Without their shields, the ships began to glow red, then white-hot. One of them exploded. Aboard the Confederacy flagship, alarms were ringing. War leader Vex 7 stared at his display in disbelief. A human had destroyed one of his ships. 1 ship out of 57, but still. In 800 conquered worlds, this had never happened. "Destroy that mining colony immediately," he ordered. "Use the planet crackers." "Sir, the primitive electromagnetic pulse has damaged some of our systems. We need time to repair. Now." Energy beams far more powerful than before lanced down from the alien fleet. The mining arrays on the planet exploded one by one. The colony's domes cracked and burst. The mining equipment that had briefly hurt them was destroyed, but it was too late. The damage was done. On Busan Station, as the platform died around him, Commander Choi sent one final message toward Earth. "Mining lasers disrupt their shields," he transmitted. "Electromagnetic pulses disable their ships. They can be hurt. They can be killed." The message raced through space at light speed. It would take hours to reach Earth, but it would arrive. War leader Vex 7 watched the last of the human resistance die. The platform was destroyed. The colony was ash. But he felt no satisfaction. One of his ships was gone. Others were damaged. And somewhere in the galaxy, humans would learn what had happened here. "Send a report to the Confederacy Council," he ordered. "Tell them the humans have been eliminated from this system." "What about our losses, war leader?" Vex 7's light dimmed. "Do not mention our losses. This was supposed to be easy." But as his fleet prepared to jump to the next human colony, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. The humans had fought differently than expected. They had used tools as weapons. They had sacrificed themselves for small advantages. Most troubling of all, they had learned. The war was just beginning, and already it was not going as planned. In the cold vacuum of space, the wreckage of Lieutenant Bei's fighter drifted among the debris of Busan Station. Inside the twisted metal, his final message was still transmitting on repeat. "They can be beaten. Find a way. Make them pay." The message would eventually fade, but the lesson would not. Humanity had drawn first blood, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Yoonji Yoon had not slept in 3 days. Her laboratory deep inside Luna Base looked like a storm had hit it. Pieces of alien wreckage covered every table. Broken crystal fragments glowed with strange light. Twisted metal that seemed to bend reality around it sat in containment fields. "Show me the recording again," she said to her assistant. The holographic display showed the final moments of Busan Station. They watched Lieutenant Bei's fighter explode against the alien ship. They watched the electromagnetic pulse wash over the enemy fleet. They watched 3 ships lose power. "There," Yoon pointed at the screen. "Freeze it right there." The image stopped at the moment of the pulse. The alien shields were visible as thin blue lines around each ship. In 3 of the ships, those lines flickered and went out. The electromagnetic interference disrupted their shield generators, Yoon said, mostly to herself. But why only those 3 ships? Her assistant, a young man named Jae-hyun Song, pulled up another display. I think it's about distance. The ships closest to the explosion lost power. The ones further away just had their shields weaken. Yoon nodded. She walked to her main workbench where pieces of the destroyed alien ship lay under bright lights. The metal was unlike anything she had ever seen. It seemed to absorb light at some angles and reflect it at others. The quantum resonance patterns are fascinating, she said, picking up a crystal fragment with mechanical hands. Their technology operates on frequency bands we never thought to use. Is that good or bad for us? Jae-hyun asked. Good. Very good. Yoon set down the crystal and turned to her computer. Every frequency can be disrupted. Every quantum field can be interfered with. We just need to find the right approach. Her fingers moved across the keyboard. Data flowed across multiple screens. Energy readings, material analysis, wave pattern, studies. She'd been working on this puzzle since the wreckage arrived 2 days ago. Dr. Yoon, Jae-hyun said quietly. There's something else. The mining laser data from Kepler 442b. What about it? The continuous beam disrupted their shields, but not because of power. It was the frequency. Mining lasers operate on a very specific electromagnetic spectrum to break molecular bonds in rock. Yoon stopped typing and looked at him. Go on. That frequency is almost exactly the resonance frequency of their shield crystals. Pure coincidence, but it made their shields unstable. A smile slowly spread across Yoon's face. It was the first time she had smiled since the war began. Not coincidence, she said. Opportunity. Across the solar system, General Seok-jin Jang stood in the command center of Mars Defense Station. Around him, officers worked at dozens of stations. The room hummed with activity as humanity prepared for war. Status report, Jang called out. Colonel Taeyang. Oh stepped forward with his tablet. All civilian shipping has been converted to military use. We've fitted weapons on cargo haulers, passenger ships, even luxury yachts. Everything that can fly is now part of the fleet. How many ships total? 47,000 vessels, sir. Most are small, but they all have weapons now. Jang nodded. The number sounded impressive, but he knew the truth. Most of those ships were never meant for combat. They were held together with hull patches and powered by civilian reactors. Against the advanced alien technology, they would last minutes. What about Protocol Wildfire? Oh, pulled up another screen. Every factory on Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies is now making weapons. Car factories are building missile launchers. Electronics plants are making targeting computers. Even food processing centers are making explosive charges. Good. We'll need every advantage we can get. In her laboratory, Dr. Yoon made her breakthrough. She had been testing different electromagnetic frequencies on pieces of alien crystal. Most had no effect. But one frequency, the same one used by mining lasers, made the crystal shatter. Jae-hyun, look at this, she called out. On her screen was a wave pattern analysis. The alien shield technology used quantum crystal matrices to bend space around their ships. But those crystals had a weakness. At exactly 847.3 terahertz, they became unstable. Can we build weapons that use this frequency? Jae-hyun asked. Better than that, Yoon replied. We can modify our existing weapons. She pulled up another display showing human nuclear missiles. Nuclear explosions produce electromagnetic radiation across the entire spectrum. If we detonate our warheads at exactly the right distance, we can create focused bursts at the disruption frequency. How close would they need to be? Very close. Maybe 100 meters from the alien ships. Jae-hyun looked worried. Their shields will stop the missiles long before they get that close. Yoon's smile grew wider. Not if the missiles are designed to be stopped. Meanwhile, Captain Unico was developing new tactics in the Fleet Training Center. She stood before a holographic display showing a typical space battle. Blue dots represented human ships. Red dots were the aliens. Traditional space combat is about formations and firepower, she told the assembled ship captains. We can't win that kind of fight. So we won't fight it. She touched her control pad. The blue dots on the display suddenly scattered in all directions. Instead, we use chaos, Ko continued. Thousands of small ships attacking from random directions, no formations, no patterns, just swarms of fighters and bombers hitting them, from every angle at once. One of the captains raised his hand. Ma'am, our civilian ships aren't built for that kind of flying. Most of them can barely make combat turns. Then don't make combat turns, Ko replied. Fly straight at them, use ramming attacks, overload your reactors and take them with you when you die. The room fell silent. Ko's words were harsh, but everyone knew she was right. This was not a war they could win through skill or strategy. It was a war they could only win through sacrifice. I know what I'm asking, Ko said quietly. I know what this means for our people. But if we don't stop the aliens here, there won't be any people left to save. Dr. Yoon's breakthrough reached Admiral Jinwoo Park within hours. He read her report twice before calling an emergency meeting. How sure are we about this, he asked as Yoon explained her discovery to the command staff. 97% certain, she replied. The alien shields operate on quantum resonance. We can disrupt that resonance with the right electromagnetic frequency. General Jang leaned forward. What do we need to make this work? Modified nuclear warheads, precision timing, and ships willing to get very close to the enemy. How close? Close enough that the aliens will be shooting at them the whole time. Park looked around the room. These were humanity's best military minds, and they all looked grim. How long to retrofit our missiles? He asked. 72 hours for the first batch, Yoon replied. But that's just 20 missiles. To outfit our entire fleet will take weeks. We don't have weeks, Park said. The aliens are already moving toward Earth. Our outer colonies are reporting attacks. Captain Ko spoke up. Sir, we don't need to retrofit every missile. We just need to prove the concept works. If we can destroy even one alien ship using this method, it will change everything. Park nodded slowly. Where do we test it? Proxima Centauri, General Jang replied. The aliens are attacking our research station there. Small fleet, maybe 15 ships. If we can beat them, we show the galaxy that humans can fight back, Park finished. Over the next 3 days, humanity worked like never before. Factories ran 24 hours a day. Scientists modified weapons with desperate speed. Ship crews trained for suicide attacks. Dr. Yoon personally oversaw the modification of the first 20 nuclear missiles. Each warhead was fitted with a special electromagnetic focusing array. The missiles were programmed to detonate at exactly 100 meters from their targets. Will it work? Jae-hyun asked, as they watched the last missile being loaded onto a transport ship. It has to, Yoon replied. The transport ship launched toward Proxima Centauri, where Captain Taeyang-oh waited with a small fleet of converted civilian vessels. His force included 12 cargo haulers with missile launchers welded to their hulls, 8 passenger ships fitted with ramming spikes, and 30 fighter craft flown by volunteers. As they approached the Proxima system, Oh could see the alien ships attacking the research station. The station's shields were failing. Escape pods drifted away from the dying structure. All ships, Oh broadcast on the fleet frequency. Remember the plan. We get the missiles close enough to work, whatever it takes. The human fleet charged into battle. They came from all directions at once, just as Captain Ko had trained them. The aliens, expecting another easy victory, found themselves surrounded by chaos. Missile after missile streaked toward the alien ships. Most were destroyed by energy beams. Some were stopped by the phase shields. But a few got through. The first modified warhead detonated 100 meters from an alien destroyer. The electromagnetic pulse that followed was precisely tuned to 847.3 terahertz. The alien ship's shields flickered and died. A second later, every remaining human missile in the area struck the defenseless vessel. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. Across the battle, human pilots cheered. It worked. The aliens could be killed. But the victory came at a cost. Of the 50 human ships that entered the battle, Only 12 survived. Captain O's own vessel was crippled, its engines destroyed by alien fire. As the surviving human ships limped away, O sent a message back to Earth. Confirmed. Admiral Jihyo Shin stood on the bridge of the battleship Soul's Revenge, watching the tactical display as 12 human fleets moved into position. Each fleet was heading to a different star system where alien forces were attacking human colonies. This was Operation Tsunami, humanity's first major attack since the war began. Status report from all fleets, she called out. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Minho Kwan, read from his screen. Fleet Alpha is in position at Wolf 359. Fleet Beta is approaching Tau Ceti. All fleets report ready for coordinated assault. Shin nodded. The plan was simple but desperate. Hit the aliens everywhere at once, force them to spread their superior forces thin. Show the galaxy that humans would not go quietly into slavery. Any word from Dr. Yoon's research team? Yes, ma'am. They've completed analysis of the wreckage from Proxima Centauri. The new electromagnetic missiles work, but we need to get them very close to enemy ships. Shin looked at the display showing her own fleet. 200 ships of all sizes. Some were military vessels built for war. Others were cargo haulers with weapons bolted onto their hulls. A few were luxury yachts whose rich owners had volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission. Time to target? She asked. 17 minutes to the Vega system, Admiral. Shin had been to Vega many times before the war. It was one of humanity's oldest colonies, home to 3 million people. The aliens had been attacking it for 6 days. Most of the colonists were dead or captured, but that was about to change. In the engineering section of Soul's Revenge, Chief Engineer Minho Kwan was putting the final touches on his latest invention. He called it a reactor bomb, a fusion power plant modified to explode with the force of a small star. Are you sure this will work? Asked his assistant, Petty Officer Nayoung Park. No, Kwan replied honestly, but it should create an electromagnetic pulse big enough to disable every alien ship within 1,000 kilometers. And us too? Probably. That's why we're putting it on a cargo ship with volunteer crew. Park looked at the modified reactor. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Streams of plasma flowed through crystal conduits. The magnetic containment field sparkled with barely controlled energy. The volunteers know what they're signing up for? She asked. They know. Captain Harry, Lim and her crew. They've got families on Vega. This is personal for them. Meanwhile, in another part of the solar system, Commander Sungmin An was preparing for his own desperate mission. His ship, the freighter Busan Pride, had been converted into something that would have been impossible to imagine before the war. The cargo holds were filled with industrial equipment, mining lasers, metal fabricators, ore processors, and fusion welders. All of it had been modified for combat. The mining lasers could now focus their beams to cut through alien armor. The fabricators could produce missiles while in flight. The welders had been turned into close-range weapons. It's crazy, said his weapons officer, looking at the jury-rigged systems. Crazy enough to work, An replied. The aliens expect us to fight with military weapons. They've never seen a flying factory before. Operation Tsunami began at exactly 1400 hours Earth time. 12 human fleets struck 12 different alien positions simultaneously. At Wolf 359, Fleet Alpha used the new electromagnetic missiles to disable 3 alien destroyers, then swarmed them with boarding parties armed with industrial cutting tools. At Tau Ceti, Fleet Beta sacrificed half their ships to get close enough for ramming attacks. The alien crews, used to fighting from a distance, were unprepared for humans who were willing to die to kill a single enemy. But the main battle was at Vega, where Admiral Shin's fleet faced the largest concentration of alien ships, over 200 vessels defending their newly conquered prize. Enemy fleet detected, Lieutenant Kwan reported. They're moving to intercept us. On the main screen, Shin could see the alien ships. They moved with the same perfect precision she had seen in all the previous battles. No wasted motion, no excess energy, like a computer controlling a fleet. That's their weakness, she said quietly. Ma'am, they're too perfect, too predictable. Helm, Execute attack pattern Chaos 7. The human fleet suddenly scattered in all directions. Ships dove up and down relative to the planetary plane. Others accelerated straight at the enemy. A few turned completely around and approached from behind. The alien fleet tried to respond, but their computer-controlled formation couldn't adapt fast enough to the random human movements. All ships, fire at will, Shin ordered. Space-filled, with missiles, energy beams, and kinetic rounds. Most of the human weapons were stopped by alien shields, but some got through. More importantly, the chaotic attack forced the aliens to spread their defensive fire. That's when Captain Lim made her run. Her cargo ship, Peace of Mind, was loaded with Quan's reactor bomb. She flew straight at the center of the alien formation, her ship taking hit after hit. Hull breach on Deck 3, her engineer reported over the intercom. Keep flying, Lim replied. Life support is failing. Keep flying. Reactor containment is at critical levels. Perfect. The Peace of Mind reached the center of the alien fleet and exploded. Not just the reactor bomb, the entire ship became a weapon. The fusion explosion created an electromagnetic pulse that washed over dozens of alien vessels. Their shields failed. Their weapons went offline. Their perfect formation became a collection of drifting hulks. All ships, attack the disabled vessels, Shin ordered. The human fleet swarmed the defenseless alien ships. Industrial cutting lasers sliced through alien hulls. Ramming attacks crushed crystal command centers. Boarding parties fought their way through alien corridors with welding torches and mining equipment. But the aliens adapted quickly. The undamaged ships moved to protect the disabled ones. Their return fire was devastating. Human ships exploded one after another. That's when Commander An arrived with his flying factory. The Busan Pride came out of faster-than-light travel, right in the middle of the battle. Its cargo holds open to reveal the industrial equipment. Within, manufacturing mode activated, An announced to his crew. The ship's fabricators began producing missiles using raw materials from the cargo holds. The mining lasers focused their continuous beams on alien ships, causing their shields to flicker and weaken. The ore processors created clouds of metal fragments that interfered with alien sensors. Most impressive of all, the welders had been modified into something completely new. Instead of joining metal together, they were programmed to take it apart. Streams of superheated plasma reached out from the Busan Pride and began dissolving alien hull plating. "What are they doing?" asked the alien fleet commander, war leader, Seth 9. "They appear to be disassembling our ships," his technician replied with confusion. "That's impossible. Those are industrial tools, not weapons. Tell that to the destroyer Vex Prime. Half its hull is gone." For the first time since the war began, an alien fleet retreated. Faced with weapons they didn't understand and tactics that made no sense, the survivors jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled the system. Admiral Shin watched them go with grim satisfaction. Her fleet was in ruins. Of the 200 ships she had brought to Vega, only 37 were still combat-capable. But they had won. The reports from the other 11 battles were similar. Heavy human losses, but alien defeats. Operation Tsunami had worked. More importantly, word of the victories spread throughout human space. Every surviving human colony heard the same message. The aliens could be beaten. In the depths of space, aboard the Confederacy flagship, Supreme War Leader Vex Prime studied the reports from his commanders. Losses were mounting. Human tactics were evolving faster than expected. Their weapons were becoming more effective. "How is this possible?" he asked his council of advisors. "The humans adapt quickly," replied Intelligence Coordinator Kex 5. "Every battle teaches them something new. They modify their equipment, change their tactics, find new weaknesses in our defenses. Then we destroy them quickly, before they can adapt further." "That may not be possible, Supreme Leader. Our analysis suggests the humans are not fighting a military war. They are fighting an industrial war. Every civilian ship becomes a weapon. Every factory becomes an armory. Every citizen becomes a soldier." Vex Prime's energy field pulsed with anger. "We have conquered 800 worlds. No species has ever resisted us this effectively." "Yes, Supreme Leader. But no species has ever fought like this. The humans do not separate their military from their civilians. When we attack their colonies, we create more enemies, not fewer. The council chamber fell silent. Finally, Thex Prime spoke again. Double our forces. Commit every available ship to the human front. End this war quickly. But even as he gave the order, he felt something that no Confederacy leader had experienced in 1,000 years of conquest. Doubt. The humans were not behaving like any enemy they had ever faced. They turned their entire civilization into a weapon. They used industrial equipment for warfare. They sacrificed themselves not just for victory, but for small advantages that might help future battles. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to learn from every defeat. Back in the Vega system, Admiral Shin was coordinating the rescue of human survivors from the colony. Her communication officer brought her a message from Earth. Admiral, we're getting reports from across human space. The aliens are massing their forces. Fleet Admiral Sungmin An stood on the command deck of the massive battleship Earth's Fury, looking out at the largest human fleet ever assembled. 15,000 ships filled the space around Earth. Military vessels, converted cargo haulers, passenger ships fitted with weapons, mining platforms turned into mobile fortresses, and hundreds of civilian craft crewed by volunteers. It should have been an inspiring sight. Instead, it looked like desperation. Report from our scouts, called out Captain Na Young Park from the communications station. What do they see? An asked. The alien fleet is enormous, sir. Our best count is over 300,000 ships. They've brought vessels from across their entire empire. An felt his stomach tighten. 20-to-1 odds. Those were impossible numbers, even with everything humanity had learned about fighting the aliens. Time to contact? 6 hours, sir. In the engineering sections throughout the fleet, Dr. Jaehyun Song was making final preparations for Protocol Prometheus. Every human ship had been fitted with special modifications to their fusion reactors. When activated simultaneously, they would create the largest electromagnetic pulse in recorded history. Are you sure this will work? Asked his assistant as they finished installing the last control system. No, Song replied honestly. We're taking 15,000 fusion reactors and overloading them all at exactly the same moment. The electromagnetic interference should disable every alien ship within a light minute of Earth. And our own ships? That's the beauty of it. Human technology was designed to be robust and simple. Our systems can handle electromagnetic pulses better than their sophisticated quantum equipment. What if we're wrong? Song looked out the viewport at Earth hanging in space like a blue jewel. Then humanity dies today. Meanwhile, aboard the Confederacy flagship Eternal Victory, Supreme War Leader Thex Prime reviewed the final battle plans with his commanders. The human fleet looked pitiful compared to his armada. This ends today, he announced to his staff. Every human ship will be destroyed. Every human world will be sterilized. This species will serve as an example to the galaxy of what happens when primitives challenge the Confederacy. War Leader Vex 7, survivor of the first battle at Kepler 442b, felt less confident. Supreme Leader, the humans have surprised us before. Their tactics are unpredictable, their weapons have evolved. They are insects, Thex Prime replied. Annoying insects, but insects nonetheless. Today we step on them. But as the alien fleet approached Earth, Vex 7 noticed something troubling. The human ships weren't forming a defensive line around their homeworld. Instead, they were scattered throughout the inner solar system. Some were near Mars. Others lurked in the asteroid belt. A few were positioned behind Earth's moon. What are they doing? He asked his sensor operator. Unknown, War Leader, their formation makes no tactical sense. That's when the first wave of human attacks began. Ships hiding in the asteroid belt suddenly emerged and launched clouds of modified mining charges. The explosives weren't powerful enough to destroy alien vessels, but they created electromagnetic static that interfered with the aliens' sophisticated sensors. Near Mars, a group of converted cargo ships began broadcasting on every frequency at once. The alien fleet's communications became a chaos of overlapping signals and interference. Behind the moon, industrial platforms that had been disguised as space debris suddenly activated. They weren't weapons, they were factories. They began producing thousands of small drones. each one fitted with a simple fusion reactor and a suicide programming. "What is happening?" Thex Prime demanded as his fleet's perfect coordination began to break down. "The humans are not trying to defeat us," Vex 7 realized. "They are trying to blind us, deafen us, and confuse us." That's when the real attack began. From every direction, human ships charged toward the alien fleet. There was no formation, no strategy, no coordinated plan. Just thousands of vessels flying at maximum speed toward certain death. The alien fleet opened fire. Energy beams lanced out across space. Human ships exploded by the hundreds. The vacuum of space filled with debris and expanding clouds of gas. But for every human ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. And some of them were getting through. Captain, Minji Kim piloted her fighter craft through the alien defensive fire. Her ship had been built for cargo transport, not combat, but it was fast and hard to hit. "This is for Lieutenant Bay," she whispered as she armed her ship's special weapon. Instead of missiles or energy beams, Kim's fighter carried something completely different. A magnetic mining device designed to extract metal from asteroids. As she flew past an alien destroyer, she activated the device. The magnetic field grabbed hold of the alien ship's crystal power core and yanked it out of alignment. The destroyer's shields failed, its weapons went offline, and its engines died. Similar attacks were happening throughout the battle. Humans were using tools as weapons, industrial equipment as military hardware, and civilian systems in ways their designers never intended. But the aliens were learning too. They adapted their tactics, concentrated their fire, and began systematically destroying the approaching human swarms. That's when Fleet Admiral An gave the order that would end the war. "All ships execute Protocol Prometheus." Across the human fleet, 15,000 fusion reactors began overloading simultaneously. The process was carefully controlled, timed down to the nanosecond by quantum computers. Dr. Song watched the countdown on his screen. 10 seconds to overload, he announced over the fleet communications. "All personnel brace for electromagnetic pulse." The aliens saw the energy buildup but didn't understand what it meant. Their sensors showed massive power spikes from every human ship, but no corresponding weapons fire. "What are they doing?" Thex Prime asked. "Unknown," his sensor operator replied. "All human ships are overloading their power systems simultaneously. Are they surrendering?" "I don't think so, Supreme Leader." 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 15,000 fusion reactors overloaded at exactly the same moment. The electromagnetic pulse that resulted was like nothing ever seen in galactic history. It washed out from Earth at the speed of light, a wave of energy that disrupted every electronic system it touched. The alien fleet, with their sophisticated quantum computers and delicate crystal technology, was completely helpless against the pulse. Ships that had seemed invincible suddenly went dark. Their shields failed, their weapons stopped working, their engines died. The human fleet, with their crude but robust technology, kept fighting. What followed was not a battle. It was an execution. Human ships swarmed over the disabled alien vessels. Industrial cutting tools sliced through crystal hulls. Mining charges blew holes in quantum armor. Welding torches melted control systems. Some aliens tried to surrender. Others attempted to self-destruct their ships. A few managed to get their systems back online and tried to fight back. It didn't matter. There were too many human ships, and they were everywhere at once. Supreme War Leader. Thex Prime watched his magnificent fleet die around him. Ships that had conquered hundreds of worlds were being taken apart by converted garbage haulers and mining vessels. "How?" he whispered. War Leader Vex 7, his ship also disabled but his emergency system still functioning, provided the answer. "We thought we were fighting their military," he said quietly. "We were wrong. We were fighting their entire civilization. Every factory became a weapons plant. Every civilian became a soldier. Every tool became a weapon. It's impossible. No species fights like this. Humans do." Across the battlefield, human voices filled the communication channels. Ship captains reported their kills. Engineers announced successful boarding actions. Fighter pilots coordinated attacks on crippled alien vessels. But the voice that cut through all the others belonged to Fleet Admiral On. "This is Earth Defense Command to all alien forces," he broadcast on every frequency. "You are defeated. Your fleet is destroyed. Any ship that attempts to flee will be hunted down and destroyed. Any ship that attempts to fight will be destroyed immediately." There was a pause before he continued. "You declared war on humanity. You thought we were weak because our technology is simple. You thought we were easy prey because we are young. You were wrong." Another pause. "This is what happens when you threaten our homes. This is what happens when you attack our families. This is what happens when you try to make slaves of free people." The final words were heard across the galaxy as every surviving alien ship recorded them. You declared war on humans. It was your final mistake. In the weeks that followed, the story of Earth's victory spread throughout known space. The Valtherian Confederacy, which had ruled hundreds of systems for thousands of years, collapsed as member species abandoned the alliance. Some species chose to make peace with humanity. Others simply stayed away from human space. A few tried to continue the war and learned the same lesson the Confederacy had learned. Dr. Jae-hyun Song, now appointed as Earth's first Minister of Galactic Affairs, received delegations from across the galaxy. They all wanted to know the same thing. How had humans defeated such a superior enemy? "It's simple," Song told each delegation. "You saw our military and thought you understood human warfare. But human warfare isn't about having the best weapons or the fastest ships.